My phone buzz came at 1:03 a.m. I didn't hear it at first. I was deep in sleep, dreaming about nothing important. But my husband heard it. Later, he told me that sound changed everything for him. The soft vibration of my phone against the wooden nightstand. The green glow lighting up his side of the bed. He said curiosity pulled him toward it like gravity. I've replayed that moment 1,000 times since. If only I'd heard the buzz first. If only I'd woken up and grabbed my phone before he did. But I didn't. I slept peacefully while my entire world prepared to collapse. My husband's name is Ethan Richards. We'd been married for 8 years. We had a beautiful son named Jamie who just turned 6. We lived in a modest house with a backyard where our dog Max loved to run. Everything was normal that night. Everything was fine. Until 1:03 a.m., when a notification lit up in the darkness and my husband's curiosity became the match that burned our lives down. Ethan told me later that he hesitated. His hand hovered over my phone for several seconds. We'd always respected each other's privacy. In 8 years of marriage, neither of us had ever gone through the other's phone. It was an unspoken rule, a boundary we both honored. But that night, something pushed him past that line. Maybe it was the late hour. Maybe it was the message preview glowing on the screen. 3 words he could see without even unlocking the phone: I miss you. Just those 3 words. Nothing more. But apparently, those 3 words were enough. He picked up my phone. He knew my passcode because I'd never hidden it from him. Why would I? I had nothing to hide. He typed in the number slowly, his heart pounding in his chest. The phone unlocked. The WhatsApp icon glowed green with a notification. One new message from someone named Alex. Ethan didn't recognize the name. His thumb hovered over the icon, trembling slightly. Then he tapped it. 9 seconds. That's all the time it took for my husband to read enough to convince himself I'd betrayed him. 9 seconds of scrolling through an old chat thread filled with flirty messages. Messages that said things like "I miss the way you used to touch me" and "those nights together were amazing." Messages with heart emojis and inside jokes. Messages that looked exactly like what a cheating spouse would exchange with a lover. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. His hands started shaking. Heat flooded his face as rage built inside him like a volcano. He scrolled up slightly, looking for dates, looking for context, looking for anything that would make this make sense. But he was too angry to see clearly. The messages blurred together in his fury. All he could focus on was the content. The betrayal. The lies. In his mind, everything suddenly made sense. Why I'd been tired lately. Why I'd been on my phone more. Why I'd smiled at a text message last week. All innocent moments that now, in his rage-clouded mind, became evidence of my infidelity. He shook me awake violently. Angel. His voice was like thunder, harsh and trembling with fury. I jolted upright, confused and disoriented. The room was dark except for the glow of my phone in his hand. For a moment, I couldn't understand what was happening. Why was Ethan holding my phone? Why did he look like that? His face was twisted with anger and pain, his eyes wild. Ethan, what? I started to say, but he cut me off. Who is Alex? He demanded, thrusting the phone toward my face. I squinted at the bright screen, still trying to wake up fully. I saw the WhatsApp chat open, saw the name, but my foggy brain couldn't place it. Who? I asked, genuinely confused. That was the wrong answer. Don't play dumb, he shouted. Alex. The person you've been cheating on me with. The words hit me like cold water. Cheating? What was he talking about? I reached for the phone, but he pulled it away. Ethan, I don't know what you're talking about. Please, just calm down and... That's when he threw my phone. It sailed across the room and hit the lamp on my dresser. The lamp crashed to the floor with a loud shatter. Glass spread across the hardwood. In the next room, I heard Jamie start crying. Our dog Max began barking frantically downstairs. Everything was chaos suddenly. I looked at Ethan, my heart pounding with fear and confusion. "Ethan, please," I said, my voice shaking. "Just listen to me for 1 second. I don't know what you saw, but I saw everything," he roared. "All the messages. All the lies. How long has this been going on, Angel? How long have you been making a fool of me?" Tears started streaming down my face. I still didn't understand what was happening, but I could see our marriage crumbling in real time. "I haven't done anything," I pleaded. "Please, just show me what you saw. Let me explain." But he was already grabbing his pillow off the bed. "I can't even look at you right now," he said coldly. Then he stormed out of the bedroom, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. I sat in the darkness, listening to Jamie cry and Max bark and my own heart hammering in my chest. My hands were trembling. I couldn't process what had just happened. One moment I was asleep, the next my husband was accusing me of cheating and throwing my phone across the room. I took a deep breath and forced myself to move. First, I went to Jamie's room and held him until he calmed down. "Mommy and Daddy just had a little argument," I whispered, stroking his hair. "Everything's okay. Go back to sleep, sweetheart." Once he settled, I went downstairs. Ethan was on the couch, staring at nothing. Max sat beside him, whimpering softly. "Ethan," I said quietly. He didn't look at me. "Don't," he said. "Just don't." I stood there helplessly, wanting to fix this but having no idea how. "Can we please just talk about this calmly?" I asked. "There's nothing to talk about," he replied. "I saw the messages, Angel. I saw everything." The house felt haunted suddenly. The home we'd built together over 8 years felt cold and foreign. I returned upstairs, found my shattered phone, and sat on the floor surrounded by broken glass. Nothing made sense. Morning came too quickly. I'd barely slept. Around 7 a.m., my phone started ringing. The screen was cracked but still worked. It was Ethan's mother, Patricia. My stomach dropped. "Angel," she said when I answered, her voice cold. "I just got off the phone with Ethan." "How could you do this to him? To Jamie? To this family?" My breath caught. "Patricia, I don't know what Ethan told you, but he told me the truth," she interrupted. "That you've been having an affair. That he saw all the messages. Angel, I never expected this from you. I thought you were different." Tears burned my eyes. "Please, just listen. Whatever Ethan saw, it's not what it looks like. I haven't cheated on him. I would never, save it," she snapped. "I'm coming over to help Ethan pack his things. This marriage is over." She hung up. I stared at my phone in disbelief. Within hours, Ethan had already told his family. Already painted me as the villain. Already decided our marriage was finished. And I still didn't even know what messages he'd seen or who Alex was. Ethan left that afternoon. His mother and 2 sisters came over to help him pack. They looked at me with such disgust, such disappointment. I tried to explain, tried to tell my side, but nobody would listen. "Cheaters always have excuses," his younger sister Maria said coldly. "They took his clothes, his toiletries, and his personal items. They took the framed photo of Jamie from his first day of kindergarten that had sat on his nightstand." I stood in the kitchen, watching through the window as Ethan loaded boxes into his truck. Patricia hugged him tightly in the driveway. His sisters rubbed his back, comforting him. He was the victim. The wounded husband. The one who deserved sympathy and support. And I was the villain. The cheating wife. The woman who destroyed her family. Ethan never looked back at the house as he drove away. He just left. 8 years of marriage ended in less than 24 hours. Jamie watched from the living room window, confusion written all over his little face. "Where's Daddy going?" he asked me. I couldn't answer. I just held him close and let my tears fall into his hair. That evening, after I put Jamie to bed, I finally looked for answers. My phone was barely functional with its cracked screen, but I managed to navigate to WhatsApp. I scrolled through my chats, looking for anyone named Alex. And then I found it. A chat I hadn't opened in years. An archived conversation from before I'd even met Ethan. My heart stopped as I read the messages. They were exactly what Ethan described. Flirty, intimate messages exchanged with someone I'd dated briefly years ago. Messages from a relationship that had ended long before Ethan came into my life. I checked the dates, and my stomach twisted. The most recent message in that thread was from April 2018. I'd met Ethan in June 2018. We started dating in July. These messages were from before we even knew each other existed. But somehow, that old conversation had gotten unarchived. Maybe I'd accidentally tapped it. Maybe a WhatsApp update had moved things around. I didn't know. What I did know was that Ethan had destroyed our marriage over messages that were 3 years old. Messages sent before I ever loved him. Before I ever promised him forever. The next few days were a nightmare. Ethan's sisters posted cryptic messages on social media about betrayal and fake people. My mutual friends started asking questions. Some believed me when I tried to explain. Most didn't. If you were really innocent, why would Ethan leave? One former friend asked. The logic was twisted but effective. Ethan's family was loud and connected. Within a week, everyone in our social circle knew that Angel Richards had cheated on her devoted husband. My reputation crumbled. I lost a photography client who said she couldn't support someone with questionable morals. Another client simply stopped responding to my emails. Even my own mother called, her voice heavy with disappointment. "Angel, just tell me the truth," she said. "Did something happen?" "No, Mom," I said, exhausted from repeating myself. Those messages were from before Ethan and I even met. But he won't listen. Nobody will listen. There was a pause. "Maybe you should just give him some space," she finally said. "Let things cool down." But things weren't cooling down. They were getting worse. The wall of blame kept building higher, and I was trapped behind it. 2 weeks after Ethan left, I sat in our empty bedroom and looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were red from crying. I'd lost weight from stress. I barely recognized the woman staring back at me. But something shifted in that moment. A quiet resolve settled over me. "You won't cry forever," I told my reflection. I was done begging people to believe me. Done trying to defend myself to those who'd already made up their minds. Instead, I started gathering evidence. I took screenshots of the entire Alex conversation, including the dates. I accessed my old phone records from 2018 to prove when I'd met Ethan. I found photos with timestamps showing our first dates, our engagement, our wedding. I documented everything methodically, creating a folder on my computer labeled Truth. I didn't know when I'd need it. Maybe for a lawyer. Maybe for court. Maybe just for myself. But I needed proof that I wasn't crazy. That I hadn't destroyed my family. That the timeline was clear and simple. And as I worked, something unexpected happened. I stopped feeling desperate. I started feeling calm. Distant. Almost cold. Because I realized something important: the truth always surfaces eventually. I just had to wait. Meanwhile, Ethan's life began unraveling. I heard about it through mutual acquaintances who still talked to me. He'd moved into his brother's spare bedroom. He was drinking more than usual. Missing work. His anger wasn't dissipating like he'd expected. Instead, it was turning inward, eating him alive. He'd posted on social media about betrayal and trust, getting hundreds of sympathetic comments. But those comments didn't heal the wound. They just kept it raw. He started fights with coworkers over nothing. He snapped at his mother when she tried to comfort him. He couldn't sleep. Couldn't focus. Couldn't function. His brother Marcus called me once, his voice careful. "Angel, I don't know what happened between you two," he said. "But Ethan's not doing well. He's falling apart." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said honestly. "But he's the one who chose to leave. He's the one who wouldn't listen." "I know," Marcus sighed. "I just thought you should know." After he hung up, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Part of me still loved Ethan. Part of me wanted to fix this. But a bigger part of me was tired. Tired of being blamed. Tired of defending myself. Tired of loving someone who'd thrown away our marriage over 9 seconds of scrolling. 3 weeks after he left, Ethan showed up at the house. It was past midnight. I heard pounding on the door that woke both me and Jamie. I looked through the peephole and saw Ethan swaying slightly, clearly drunk. I opened the door but kept the chain lock on. "What do you want?" I asked quietly. "I want the truth," he slurred. His eyes were bloodshot, his clothes wrinkled. "Just tell me the truth, Angel. That's all I need." "I've been telling you the truth," I said calmly. "Those messages were from before we met. Before I even knew you existed. But you never listened." He leaned against the doorframe. "Just admit it," he said, his voice breaking. "Just admit you cheated and we can figure this out." I looked at this man I'd loved for so long. This man I'd built a life with. This man who'd destroyed everything over his own assumptions. "I have nothing to admit," I said quietly. "But you do. You need to admit that you never trusted me. That you chose anger over conversation. That you valued pride over truth." Then I closed the door and locked it. I heard him standing there for several minutes before finally walking away. A week later, the legal envelope arrived. Petition for divorce, Ethan Richards versus Angel Richards. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the thick packet of papers. My hands shook as I flipped through them. Irreconcilable differences. Division of assets. Custody arrangements for Jamie. It was all so cold, so clinical. 8 years of love reduced to legal terminology. I called my friend Brenda, one of the few people still on my side. "He actually filed," I said, my voice hollow. "I can't believe he actually filed." "What are you going to do?" she asked gently. I looked at the papers spread across the table. Looked at the signature line waiting for my name. "I'm going to sign them," I said. "I'm done fighting for someone who doesn't want to fight for me." That evening, I signed every page carefully. I didn't cry. I didn't feel much of anything. Just a deep, settling calm. Peace over pain. Truth over chaos. I put the papers in the return envelope and dropped them in the mailbox the next morning. Our marriage was officially over. And surprisingly, I felt lighter than I had in months. A month after the divorce filing, Ethan lost his job. I heard about it from his sister Maria, who called me surprisingly apologetic. "Angel, I need to tell you something," she said. "Ethan got fired today." "What happened?" I asked, genuinely concerned despite everything. "He got into a fight at work," she explained. "Some guy made a stupid joke about wives and WhatsApp messages. Ethan just snapped. Punched him right in the break room. They fired him on the spot." My heart sank. For Jamie's sake more than anything. "Is he okay?" "No," Maria admitted quietly. "He's not okay at all. Angel, I'm starting to think. I'm starting to wonder if we all jumped to conclusions." I didn't respond. What could I say? "His whole life is falling apart," she continued. "No wife, no job, drinking too much. He's spiraling and we don't know how to help him." "That's not my responsibility anymore," I said, not unkindly. Just honestly. He made his choices. Now he has to live with them. After we hung up, I felt a strange mix of sadness and vindication. I never wanted Ethan to suffer. But I also couldn't save someone who'd pushed me away so violently. 2 days later, I received an email from someone I didn't know. The subject line read, "You deserve to know this." I opened it carefully, expecting spam or something worse. Instead, I found a message from a man named Tyler who worked with Ethan. "Mrs. Richards," it read. "I don't know if you remember me. We met at the company holiday party 2 years ago. I'm reaching out because I discovered something important that I think you should see." Attached to the email were screenshots. My screenshots. The exact WhatsApp conversation Ethan had seen that night. But these screenshots showed something Ethan had missed in his rage: the dates. Tyler had highlighted them in yellow. April 15, 2018. April 19, 2018. April 22, 2018. All before June 2018, when Ethan and I had met. I found these while trying to help Ethan build a case for the divorce. Tyler's email continued. But when I saw the dates, I realized the truth. These messages were sent before you two even met. He accused you of cheating based on a conversation from before your relationship existed. I'm so sorry. He owes you the biggest apology of your life. I stared at that email for a long time. Vindication flooded through me, but it felt hollow. What good did it do now? Our marriage was already destroyed. The damage was already done. I forwarded the email to Ethan without any message. Just the proof. Just the truth he'd been too angry to see. Then I called his mother. "Patricia," I said when she answered. "Check your email. I just forwarded you something Ethan's coworker sent me." There was typing in the background, then a long silence. "Oh my God," she whispered. "These dates. Angel, these messages were from before I ever met your son," I finished. "Before I loved him. Before I married him. Before I built a life with him." She started crying. "Angel, I'm so sorry. We all just assumed. We believed him without question. We destroyed you based on nothing." "Yes," I said simply. "You did. Please," she begged. "Please let me make this right. Let me talk to Ethan. Let me fix this." "There's nothing to fix anymore," I said calmly. "The divorce papers are signed. The marriage is over. You all made your choice. Now live with it." I hung up before she could respond. That night, I pulled out an old journal from 2018. The year I met Ethan. I flipped through the pages, reading my younger self's thoughts and dreams. There was an entry from our third date. I met someone, I'd written. His name is Ethan Richards. He makes me laugh. He listens when I talk. He feels safe. I remembered that version of me. The woman who'd fallen in love with a kind man. The woman who'd believed in forever. The woman who'd trusted completely. That woman didn't exist anymore. She'd been killed at 1:03 a.m. when curiosity became accusation. I closed the journal and put it away. Some chapters of your life end whether you're ready or not. Some versions of yourself die to make room for new ones. I was becoming someone different now. Someone stronger. Someone who didn't need validation from people who'd already failed her. Someone who understood that peace was worth more than reconciliation. The woman Ethan had married was gone. What remained was harder, wiser, and done apologizing for crimes she never committed. Over the next week, Ethan's family tried to make amends. His sisters sent long apologetic text messages. His brother called leaving voicemails. His mother showed up at my door with flowers and tears. "Please, Angel," Patricia begged. "Please let us make this right. We were wrong. So completely wrong." I stood in the doorway, holding the flowers she'd brought. "You weren't just wrong," I said quietly. "You were cruel. You condemned me without trial. You spread rumors that destroyed my reputation. You looked at me with disgust when I needed support. And you did it all because your son was too angry to see a date stamp." "I know," she sobbed. I know, and I'm so sorry. Your apologies don't undo the damage, I said. They don't give me back the clients I lost. They don't give me back my reputation. They don't give me back my marriage. What can we do? She asked desperately. Nothing, I said. Then I went inside and changed my phone number. I blocked them all on social media. I erased their contact information. They wanted forgiveness, but I wasn't ready to give it. Maybe I never would be. And that was okay. I didn't owe them peace. I owed myself protection. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, Ethan asked to meet. The message came through Jamie's tablet, the only communication channel we maintained for co-parenting purposes. Please, he wrote. I need to see you. Just once. Just to talk. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop we used to love, back when we were happy. He was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table. He looked terrible. Thinner. Older. Hollow. His eyes had dark circles underneath them. His clothes hung loose on his frame. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Thank you for coming, he said as I sat down. I didn't order anything. Didn't plan to stay long. You have 30 minutes, I said. Then I'm leaving. He nodded, swallowing hard. Angel, I don't even know where to start. I've destroyed everything. My marriage. My job. My family's trust. All because I was too proud to listen to you that night. Yes, I said simply. You did. He looked at me with desperate eyes. Can you ever forgive me? I looked at this broken man across from me. The man I'd once loved more than anything. The man who'd been my partner, my best friend, my chosen family. You want me to forgive you, I said quietly. But do you even understand what you did, Ethan? I know I messed up, he started. No, I interrupted. You didn't just mess up. You detonated our entire life based on 9 seconds of scrolling. 9 seconds. That's all the time you needed to decide I was a liar and a cheater. His eyes filled with tears. I know. I was wrong. I should have asked you. Should have listened. Should have looked at the dates. Should have trusted you. But you didn't, I said. And do you know why? Because deep down, you never really trusted me at all. If you had, you would have asked questions before making accusations. You would have seen the dates. You would have known something didn't add up. He buried his face in his hands. I'm so sorry, Angel. I'm so incredibly sorry. Please. Please tell me there's some way to fix this. Some way to start over. I stood up, gathering my purse. There's not. 9 seconds, Ethan, I said, looking down at him. That's all it took to destroy everything we built. 8 years of marriage. 8 years of love and trust and partnership. You threw it all away in 9 seconds because you couldn't control your rage long enough to have a conversation. He looked up at me, tears streaming down his face. I'll do anything to fix this. Therapy. Counseling. Whatever it takes. It's too late, I said gently. The person who was your wife doesn't exist anymore. You killed her that night when you threw my phone and stormed out. When you told your family lies about me. When you chose pride over truth. Angel, please. I hope you find peace someday, I said. I genuinely do. But you won't find it with me. That door is closed forever. I walked out of the coffee shop without looking back. I heard him calling my name, but I didn't stop. The past was behind me now. And I was done letting it drag me backward. Outside, the sun was shining. Birds were singing. Life was continuing. And for the first time in months, I felt completely, totally free. That evening, Ethan went to our old house. The house I still lived in with Jamie. He sat in his truck across the street for over an hour, just staring at the windows. I watched him from inside, behind the curtains. He looked so lost. So broken. Eventually, he got out and walked slowly to the porch. He didn't knock. He just stood there for a long moment, then bent down and placed something on the welcome mat. My wedding ring. The one I'd left on the kitchen counter the day I signed the divorce papers. He'd kept it all this time. Through everything, he'd carried that ring like a talisman. Like proof that we'd once been real. I watched him walk back to his truck, shoulders slumped with defeat. Watched him drive away slowly, like leaving hurt physically. After he was gone, I opened the door and picked up the ring. It glinted in the porch light, still beautiful, still perfect. Still meaningless now. I put it in a box in my closet. Maybe someday I'd give it to Jamie. Maybe someday he'd understand what happened between his parents. But not today. Today, it was just a piece of metal. A relic from a life that no longer existed. Over the following months, I rebuilt my life piece by piece. I got new photography clients through word of mouth. I joined a support group for divorced women where I met genuine friends who didn't judge my past. I started therapy to process everything that had happened. I focused on being the best mother I could be to Jamie. I planted flowers in the garden. Painted the bedroom a new color. Rearranged the furniture. Erased the ghost of my old life and created space for something new. I stopped checking on Ethan. Stopped asking mutual friends how he was doing. Stopped caring whether he'd found a new job or gotten his life together. His journey was no longer my responsibility. I learned that silence, when earned, is louder than any revenge. I didn't need to destroy Ethan publicly. His own actions had done that. I didn't need to make him suffer. His guilt was doing that already. All I needed was to move forward. And I did. Slowly, carefully, but steadily. Each day got a little easier. Each week brought new growth. And one morning, I woke up and realized something incredible. I was happy again. A year after that terrible night at 1:03 a.m., I attended my friend's wedding. It was a beautiful outdoor ceremony filled with love and laughter. During the reception, I stood by the dessert table, watching couples dance. And then I saw him. Ethan was there, a distant friend of the groom. He stood alone on the opposite side of the hall, looking uncomfortable in his suit. Our eyes met across the room. For a long moment, neither of us moved. I saw recognition in his face. Regret. Longing. The weight of everything he'd lost. But I didn't feel those things anymore. I felt nothing but peaceful indifference. I smiled softly, not cruel but not warm either. Just acknowledgement. Then I turned away and rejoined my friends, laughing at someone's joke. I didn't look back to see his reaction. Didn't wonder what he was thinking. Didn't care. The man who destroyed everything in 9 seconds would carry that weight for the rest of his life. But I wouldn't. I was free now. Free from his anger. Free from his accusations. Free from the need to prove myself to anyone. And as I danced with my friends under the stars, I realized something beautiful. Sometimes the best revenge isn't vengeance at all. Sometimes it's simply surviving, thriving, and moving forward. Sometimes it's being genuinely happy while the person who tried to break you watches from across the room, finally understanding what they lost. 9 seconds destroyed my marriage. But I'd used the months since then to build something better, a life where I was enough, all on my own. And that was the sweetest justice of all.